The bike tour was great. In 2012, 14 middle-aged cyclists rode their bicycles from Hendersonville, Tennessee to Washington, D.C. They were blessed by many contiguous bike trails in Ohio, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. In 2022, 4 of the group decided to repeat their tour. Their route started on rural roads in Kentucky. In Cincinnati, they rode the Ohio River Trail, the Little Miami Trail, the Prairie Grass Trail, the Heart of Ohio Trail, the Panhandle Trail, the Montour Trail, the Great Allegheny Passage Trail, and ended in the C&O towpath. For convenience, they used a sag van.
I got 2 garbage set up here for the first 2 regroup points. Tom, yours is already set up. All you got to do is follow the pink line. And when Bruce gets ready to go, this little one down here, he just got to press go and it'll...
Ross had extra navigation for planned rest and lunch stops, snacks, and taxis. Their first day began in Westmoreland with a pleasant downhill 10-mile ride at the top of Tennessee's Middle Northern Highland Ridge. Everyone remembered that hot day in 2012. In 2022, the day was only 70 degrees, but they were still jinxed. In no more than 100 yards, they had a crash. No problem, no one was hurt. The first 10 miles on county roads went well. When they reached State 231, car traffic was not safe. They moved to an unplanned side road, which unfortunately had a closed bridge, but they did what they had to do.
That we're doing this one right now, and you can see the roads have got a little bit of a problem here. And
can you help? Come on, give Ross a hand.
Okay, here we are at the Sonic in Scottsville. These guys are going to kill me for having it right on this hill and then having to climb out of a hill in Sonic. According to Live 360, they ought to be rounding that curve any second now. Ah, there he comes. There comes Tom. And there is Bob and Ross right behind him.
The rest of the day, to Horse Cave, Kentucky, was on safe county roads with little to no traffic. The route from Westmoreland to Cincinnati was 250 miles long and hilly with 12,000 feet of climbing, but nearly all was on pleasant back roads. Along the way was a stop at Ogdenville, Abraham Lincoln's birthplace. In New Haven, they stopped for lunch. Across the road was the Kentucky Railway Museum.
We're at the Kentucky Railway Museum. Bob is eyeballing the old steam train, and we're just leaving.
The tourist center for Taylorsville Lake was on the route. The tailwater area was a convenient spot for a brief sag rest stop.
All right, here we are at, I don't know, what's the name of this place? There we go.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's like a dam or something. Look, there's a dam spot right there.
Yeah, let me go see the name of this place. Taylorsville, Lake and Dam. Yeah.
Gratz and Owenton were bad and good memories from the 2012 trip. Gratz was the toughest climb in the trip, a 400-foot, 9.7 climb out of a narrow road with large trucks hauling boulders. The Family Billiards in Owenton was a favorite mom-and-pop restaurant. In 2023, one of the customers secretly paid for their lunch.
Our bill has been paid for by somebody on one of the other tables. This is Family Billiards. Yeah. Yeah.
After Wellington, the worst of the hills were behind them. They were on mostly scenic roads.
This is one of the many beautiful rides we're taking just out of Bardstown right at this point in time.
They reached the Ohio River and the end of Kentucky. Lunch was at the Newport Hofbrauhaus. It was Oktoberfest and time for a brew. The Great Dunkel Pint, Bob tells Ross, where the famous Purple People Bridge was.
Well, it's purple, it's for people, and it's a bridge. Come on, let's take a walk so that we can learn all about the Purple People Bridge. Of the 9 bridges spanning the Ohio River, this is the only purple one.
Purple People Bridge was right across the street from the Hofbrauhaus. Since 2001, the Purple People Bridge was a pedestrian-only bridge that stretches half a mile across the Ohio River. It connects Newport, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio. Once crossing the Purple People Bridge, they were on Sawyer Point Park and on the Ohio River Trail. The Ohio River Trail was mostly on roads. It connected to the Lunken Field Loop, the Armledge Trail Connector, and then the Little Miami Trail. The Little Miami Scenic Trail is the 4th longest paved trail in the United States, running 78 miles. They rode 60 miles of the rail trail from Cincinnati to Xenia with a rest stop in Milford. In 1969, the once busy Little Miami Passenger Railroad Station closed in Milford. In 1992, the old railroad was adopted as part of the Little Miami Scenic Trail through Milford.
I don't know where the hell we're going, but we're going to follow Bruce. Okay, go guys! Here we go. Yep, there we go, and there. Bob, and this is the section of Little Miami that Bruce says this is beautiful.
From 1973 to 1983, Xenia and Yellow Springs purchased land along the abandoned Little Miami Railroad. Since then, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the Ohio Department of Transportation, the Friends of the Little Miami State Park Group, and neighborhood communities worked to develop and maintain the trail from Spring Valley to Newton. The Little Miami Scenic Trail was one of the finest bike tours on which they had been. In 2008, members of the Fogby Bike Club rode 72 miles from Buck Creek to Mason. In 2018, on their Cincinnati to Maryland C&O towpath, they enjoyed riding the trail from Cincinnati to Xenia. Along a largely wooded corridor, 11 small towns bordered on the old railroad line. The original railway bed was still visible in various places beside the 78-mile paved trail. It included canoe liveries, quaint eateries, the restored Xenia Railroad Station, the old Fort Ancient, and Kings Island. 4 paved trails connected at Xenia Station. They left the Little Miami Trail to the Prairie Grass Trail. The Prairie Grass Trail was a 20-mile section of the Ohio to Erie Trail from Xenia to London. On the route, they spent the night in Cedarville, a motel that offered special service for bicyclists. The next stop was the Peddler Coffee Shop in London.
We're gonna get stopped right at the Coffee Peddler right now. I gotta go in a second and check on Mr. Peddler.
I had a tandem come in here probably about 6 years ago. The pedal had come off.
After the coffee shop, they were back on the trail of the Ohio to Erie. Complicated, twisty trails and city roads could be a nightmare for visiting bicyclists. Fortunately, the Garmin held true. From Columbus, 2 trails led east, the Ohio to Erie Trail and the T.J. Evans Panhandle Trail. With either route, contrary to Mike, they drove the sag van to the starting point. In 2023, they drove the van from the motel to the Heart of Ohio Trail near Sudbury. The trail headed north on Candier.
We found somebody sitting in the motel. We decided to bring him with us. There he is, yeah. The highest point in Ohio. And as you can see, it's not very high. So Ohio's obviously very flat. That's Jimmy, if you ever Recce 4. A nature break, but we also run into another stranger on the trail. So I don't know what everybody is staring at. Must be something different.
From here, they run lightly heavy traffic on Ohio 36 to Coshocton. In 2018, they chose the T.J. Evans and Panhandle Trail. It meandered from Newark to the edge of Muskegon County, and on their way to Coshocton, past the unusual Longaberger building. From Coshocton to Cadiz, the route was on Ohio 36. In Cadiz, they rode the sag van to Weirton.
It's now ready. I think they're gonna go. I don't know yet. Go!
So I'll bring up the rear. Which way, man? Right.
Today was the last day for riding on roads. From tomorrow, everything was back on trails. Weirton, West Virginia, was on the Panhandle to Montour trails. 60 miles to the Great Allegheny Passage.
There they are. We are on the start of the Panhandle Trail, and after this we go to the Montour, call that thing, Gap. Okay, we're ready to go.
The trails were a mixture of paved and gravel, multi-use, non-motorized recreational pathways.
This is really a nice looking greenway. Nicely trailed, scenery right now. Even seeing a little bit of color in the background.
This route was made famous by the merger of several railroads in 1860 to create the Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Chicago, and St. Louis Railroad. It later became part of the Penn Central and Conrail systems until it fell in disuse in 1991.
Well, here I am meeting up with the rest of the crew on the Panhandle Trail in its Pennsylvania part. I've parked back a little south of here, and these guys have bicycled 18 miles to come and meet me. Hello, hello. It's chilly out here.
Coffee.
Yes.
Look out here.
Yeah.
The trails followed an old railroad grade through hilly terrains.
Let's go over the tail trailer.
In past trips, we have missed this connector to Montour. The Montour's 1913 railroad trestle was above the Panhandle.
Above bridge is the Montour Bridge. The problem is how we never figured out how the hell we get up there. Yeah, this is very spooky road. No way to find how to, unless you got a Garmin here. Very complicated to get through it. You look at the trail, it looks bad, but it is the correct way to go. Another big bridge. This is our first large one. This is the one we saw below. This is it. How do you get here? By luck. That's where we were. Even when we got here, we weren't sure we were here.
The Montour Trail was country's longest suburban rail trail. Currently, it was continuous with several short gaps in the southeast section. The trail was now on soft gravel that was difficult to ride.
If you guys want to move, you're welcome to move. Come on, anytime. How dark is dark, but we'll give it a shot. Going in a dark, dark tunnel. It is darker than I anticipated. No idea where everybody else is. Well, no, it's not so long. See light at the end of the tunnel. Uh-oh. Spot one. Ross is waiting out there.
Here we are on a bridge going into Pittsburgh. There's a barge taking something somewhere. I guess that's downtown Pittsburgh there. No, I don't know. But there's stuff over here too. Here we are, what I assume is Point State Park, which is quite lovely on this quite lovely day. We've just come through downtown Cincinnati.
This way, the stadium is behind me there.
Yeah.
Is this a video?
Yes, a video.
Hey
yeah.
guys, welcome to Pittsburgh. If you haven't done one of these tours, you need to.
Yes, Point State Park. It is, I was not told about this.
Well, I always liked antiques when I was a kid, even when I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, collecting antique bottles. And when I was younger, I had a bicycle like everybody else did. And, you know, that was your adventure when you were a kid. You know, that was your way out of the house and go to the swimming pool and whatever. But anyways, when I got older, I used to do auto body work, custom painting on cars and things like that. And I just got sick of doing body work. Paint fumes got to me and whatever, and I had to do something, so I just got back into bicycles and just started looking around. I started finding a couple of bikes like I had when I was a kid, and that's what got me started. Well, at Bicycle Heaven, we have the largest collection of antique and collectible bikes and parts. We sell parts all around the world, actually. But in the museum, we have the record for having the most Bowden or Bowden Space Lander bicycles.
The 500-mile Great Allegheny Passage started at Point State Park in Pittsburgh and ended at the C&O Park in Cumberland. It included 30 bridges and 4 tunnels, specifically the Salisbury Viaduct, the Pinkerton High Bridge, the 849-foot Pinkerton Tunnel, and the 3,250-foot Big Savage Gulch. The rain stopped after mile 11 and Sag 1. Until their lunch stop at West Newton, the trail was paved. On the next eventful 30 miles to their evening stop at Connellsville, the trail was on firm gravel. They passed several cafes, rooming houses, and camps next to the trail.
Okay. I'm riding the bear.
He's riding the bear.
No, he's not.
He's barebacking.
Well, I figured the deal.
What are they doing? I have no idea. I think they're relaxing. This is the town in the Connellsville. We'll get you going over it.
Comfort Inn was conveniently located between the Gap and the Youghiogheny River, and just a short walk from the center of town. On the Gap's gravel trail, 17 miles from Connellsville, was Ohiopyle. In the middle of the Youghiogheny River and its rapids, it made its reputation as a whitewater benchmark of the East. It offered an extensive services for rafting, biking, and hiking.
Morning.
You should be here riding this with us.
Didn't have to ride back this time, did you?
At Confluence, the Gap left the Youghahaney River to the Castleman River into the mountains with many points of interest and many more pedal tourists. On 10 more miles was Confluence, a favorite for many B&Bs, guest house, restaurants, and cafes. 2 bike-ped bridges connected the town's peninsulas. With great views, the 543-foot Pinkerton High Bridge passed a tight hairpin turn of the Castleman River. The Pinkerton Tunnel followed and connected to the 242-foot Pinkerton Low Bridge. Rockford was once a lonely railroad whistle stop along an isolated bend in the Castleman River. Today, whimsical bicycle-fringed metal sculptures greet travelers.
Try again. I didn't get it the first time. There you go. And you're in Rockwater. Yep. Yeah. We'll have to go get the van, go get him when he gets there. Yeah, peace. 1,908-foot Salisbury Viaduct was the longest trestle on the Gap. Its 101 feet height above the Castle River, just west of Myersdale, provided 360-degree views of the surrounding forest and farmland. In Myersdale, several B&Bs, guest house, and a boutique inn offered many services for touring cyclists. The Trail Museum focused on local heritage, specifically the railroad, coal, and lumberman industries. The Gap changed direction to Flottery Creek along the Western Maryland Railway. Abandoned by 1976, remnants of the railroad tracks were used between Cumberland and Prosper for tourist excursions. In Myersdale, David Irvine joined the ride to Cumberland. And here they go. David Irvine, Energizer, Bob, Jimmy, and Bruce. And anybody behind them is not ours.
3 miles east of Myersdale was the curving 910-foot Keystone Viaduct. Built in 1911, it had great views nearly 100 feet high above Flottery Creek.
Morning.
Have a good ride.
Okay.
How about a small fruit pie? Do you sell these?
Yeah, those are 50 cents.
50 cents? Yeah. What about 2 of these? Make sure you can.
Skinny. So we're gonna take out the rest of you guys. Now it's a movie, so you can talk if you want to.
The Eastern Continental Divide was the highest point on the gap at 2,392 feet. The trail was steeper and no longer followed a river.
Okay, here comes one. Oh, that's Tom. And here comes Bruce. Okay, and here's Jennifer. And here comes David. And Jimmy can stay there.
Long 3,291 feet, Big Savage Tunnel was built in 1912 and was refurbished for bicyclists and hikers in 2003. It's fitted with a custom arch portal doors and a modern lighting system.
This is obviously a place where you like to have a light with you. I don't think this tunnel ever ends. Straighten that a little bit here. This is going to be real video. There's a tunnel there. Don't know how long this tunnel is, but somewhere at the end there's got to be a light. I sure hope I don't need too many more pictures. Alright. I guess I can turn off the camera. This is the Mason-Dixon line. To believe one of their prettiest routes I've ever been on, by train or by bicycle.